Hello guys! Yes, it's finally gonna happen. You're seeing it right here on the display and on the MacBook Air. Today we're finally gonna talk about Apple and their new MacBook Air with the Apple Silicon, the first of its kind, the M1 processor. I think today, with the introduction of the new M1 processor, is the perfect time. And since most of you actually found me through videos on this machine here, my daily driver, my MacBook Air Mid 2017, I thought what better time to now make an update on my MacBook Air comparison, which the last version that I did of was in March of 2020. And now we're gonna compare the MacBook Air Mid 2017 to the MacBook Air 2019 and to the newly released MacBook ARM Apple Silicon M1 MacBook Air. And we'll find out which MacBook is the best and if the MacBook Air 2017 still is the perfect student laptop. So let's start with the oldest one in the lineup, and that is my laptop, my daily driver since March, end of March 2018. And that is the MacBook Air Mid 2017. Now, if you want to have a very detailed look into the MacBook Air, into its specifications and its performance, then I have two reviews that I did. One actually almost a couple of days after I got it in 2018, link down below. And then the other one is a performance review where I pushed it in daily usage and also showed you guys how good it is in video editing. And trust me, I think you'll be very surprised how much this MacBook Air can actually handle. Let's just say Full HD 60 FPS editing, Final Cut Pro 10, easy, no big deal, you can't almost hear the fans. But now let's compare the MacBook Air Mid 2017 to the other laptops. So let's start with the most obvious thing, and that is the OS. No, it's not the display, I know. Everyone's just waiting for me to say the display is so bad on the MacBook. We'll get to that. How is using the MacBook Air Mid 2017 in your daily life? Now, first of all, exclaimer, what do I do on my MacBook Air? Well, I'm a student, so I do a lot of office stuff, everything from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything. I also push the MacBook Air. I have a stream open, I'm looking on Amazon, I don't know, I have another program open. I also like to do video editing, and I tried it out with none other than the amazing Final Cut Pro 10. I do full HD 60 FPS editing on here. No problem. Silky smooth. Like, every time it blows my mind. This machine with this thickness, it just does full HD 60 FPS editing out of the box, and you can't almost hear the fans. Like, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. And it just works. You know what I mean? It just works. So you can do stuff, and I actually got a comment today, and I want to say thank you to the one that actually wrote this comment. You can do After Effects on this machine. I heard you have to put the resolution down a bit, but you can do After Effects, and After Effects is a very demanding program, if you know what I mean. So if you want to do After Effects, you can. If you want to do more demanding stuff, you can do it. So I know there are a lot of you reviewers that say you can't do shit with the MacBook Air 2017. It's, to put it bluntly, it's bullshit. You could do 4K 60, like I tried this in my performance review. You could actually edit 4K 60 on there. It was silky smooth in Final Cut Pro 10. And it just, yes, of course, rendering times will be longer than on the newer models and on the MacBook Pro models. But like, performance-wise, you could do it if you're not a professional. You could do it. It easily can do it. So if you want to do full HD 60 FPS editing and you're not a professional, maybe just you're a casual video editor, you love doing it in your free time, maybe a YouTuber that's just starting off, hey, you can do this. Honestly, you can do it. And most videos, if we're being really honest, are all still being made and shot and cut in full HD 60 FPS. Just the truth. And even then you could do 4K on there. Yes, render times would be longer, but you could do it. So how does it use in daily life tasks? Browsing through the web, YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, whatever. It just works. It honestly just works. Everything opens up instantly, quickly. There is no delay, there is no lag, there is literally, I can't even remember the last time my MacBook Air stuttered. So performance, and we're talking newest OS right here, Big Sur, just works. Like, I've been now through 4 OSs, High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina and Big Sur, and most of the time a lot of people ask me, well, if you're upgrading the OSs, won't it get slower? No, it still works as fast as it did on the first day. And I have to applaud Apple for that, because that's not taken for granted these days, that after so many OS updates, the machine still runs as good as it did when you bought it. So I have to say, performance-wise, if you're worrying about this, if your daily usage is browsing through the web, Facebook, social media, Word, Excel, Office, WhatsApp, I don't know, Skype especially right now, of course, video chats, video meetings, everything works. You have an HD camera, yes, Apple could do full HD, but it's an HD camera, it's well enough, it's surely enough for what you need, probably better than what most people have, because, I mean, through video chat sometimes you see webcam images where you think, I mean, are those laptops from 1980 or something? But you know, you still have a good webcam on there. And again, performance wise, if you don't do a lot of like excessive, like 50 different tracks in Final Cut, or like extensive After Effects projects, or extensive Photoshop, you can easily work on this machine performance wise, even though it has the oldest hardware. Now, how do these MacBooks stack up? Which is the best? Well, it makes sense, of course. The 2017 is not as good as the 2019. The 2019 is, of course, not as good as the new ARM 2020. So yes, performance-wise, kind of makes sense. They're getting better and better with every iteration. And especially the M1, and I have to notice that and say that because it's just the truth. The M1, the first ARM silicon from Apple on a MacBook or a Mac in general, their new switch to their own processors, which is a very big thing actually, gives massive performance improvements. You have like 50% graphic improvement because they have their own graphics chip in there. You have like 3 times CPU performance improvement over the 2019 model even. So crazy improvements when it comes to raw performance of the CPU and the graphic unit. So yes, performance wise, this packs a mean punch. The M1, the new first of its kind ARM silicon for Mac by Apple, really packs a punch and is a beast. I have heard and seen reviews, everyone's agreeing it's crazy how well it's performing. And keep in mind, the MacBook Air 2020 ARM, while delivering such crazy performance, hasn't even got a fan. It's fanless cooling, so no noise at all, and that's crazy. And I have to give that to Apple. Like performance wise, if having the best, like the highest performance is important to you, it's the one to get the ARM MacBook Air. Just honestly the truth. Now we get to the most obvious thing everyone's shouting about, the display. Oh my god, not the Retina. Yes, it's not Retina, it's a resolution that's below full HD. I know. How terrible. Can I be honest? I like this display. I don't care. And right there in the back is a full HD display from Samsung. It's a very nice curved display. Like normally, what everyone is telling you right now on YouTube is like, oh, you can't, this display is so terrible, it's so bad, and yeah, you know what I mean? Why buy it? You know, and the bezels are horrible. Am I the only one that thinks the bezels look fine? They don't look bad? Am I the only one that looks at this display and is like, it's sharp, I like the colors, I like this display, I think it's a very good display, honestly. And of course, yes, if we're gonna look at the other models, 2019 and 2020 ARM MacBook Air, both have a leaps and bounds better display. It's a Retina display, you have all the color gamuts, and yes, it looks way better resolution-wise, color-wise, yes. So if you're, for example, a video editor that says I need very accurate color representation, or like Photoshop, if you're professional in Photoshop editing, I get it. Then a better or higher resolution, especially a display with a higher color gamut or wider color gamut, makes sense. Then yes, then I wouldn't recommend this laptop. But if you're not a professional, honestly go to a store, look at this display in person, and then write a comment and tell me if you think it's really that bad. I am looking at it right now. I'm comparing it to the full HD display. I have a 4K TV in my apartment in Graz. I have a 4K Dolby Vision, you know, HDR10 display. And I look at this display and I compare it to the 4K and I'm like, yes, if you're not professional, I don't see why getting a way better display is that important to you. But if Like, you're all about the display resolution and the color gamut. Yes, of course, the other models 2019 and the ARM model 2020 have the way better display, obviously. And if we're comparing the 2019 to the 2020 model, the 2020 has a higher brightness, and also I think a wider color gamut. So it's a bit improved now. You think you get the color gamut that the MacBook Pros before had in 2019. So yes, the display on the ARM 2020 MacBook Pro is of course way better than on this one. But does that mean that this display is bad? No. Let's get to the next thing. The design. The design. Essentially, if we're just talking about design and build quality, all of the MacBooks across the board are perfect. You can just say that. They're perfect. Apple knows how to build laptops. They're all amazingly well built. They're all made out of aluminium, and they just look perfect. Now this is preference, but I think I just love this timeless MacBook Air design. And I know this is a very old design actually, has been here since 2010 actually. It's 10 years old now, this design. But it's just so timeless. It still looks very modern. It looks so nice. And what I don't like about the new MacBook Airs is like every MacBook now looks the same. Like you can't almost differentiate the MacBook Pro from the MacBook Air. And I just think it would be nicer if you could. Now let's get to the next thing, the keyboard. Very important and underrated thing that not a lot of people talk about. The keyboard, having a good keyboard, especially if you're a writer, you do a lot of word typing and everything. If you have a bad keyboard, you'll notice and it'll get on your nerves every time you start to write something longer. And this, the MacBook Air Mid 2017, still, in my opinion, has the best keyboard on a MacBook that Apple ever sold. It has this normal scissor key mechanism and it just has the right amount of treble. It's perfect. I've written so many stories. I'm right now actually writing or refining a script, so I was having writing sessions for hours and hours, and I never had a feeling of, oh, this keyboard is annoying or it's not that good. The keyboard on the MacBook Air Mid 2017 is still, in my opinion, the best MacBook keyboard Apple ever did. Now in the 2019 version and then the 2020 version, I mean, I don't know about the 2020 version yet. I wasn't able to try it out yet. But the 2019 version improved the keyboard because Apple went to the butterfly keyboard. As we all know, it got quite infamous for breaking, not having a lot of travel, not a lot of people liked it, and we had the whole sticky key problem. So it wasn't that good of a redesign. And they went back to scissor key now, because they should have just sticked with it. And now it's this hybrid, because it's a scissor key mechanism, but it has less treble. Like it has, I would say, half of this treble on the MacBook Air Mid 2017, and it's way better than it was in the beginning in 2018. But it's still, it's that inch not enough, if you know what I mean. The treble is just a teeny bit not enough for me. So I mean, that's preference. I would say all models have a good keyboard, but this one's the best. So now let's talk about the webcam. Yeah, webcam, very important, and even more important right now. The webcam on the MacBook Air, or on the MacBook Airs from 2017 to 2019 to now 2020 have essentially stayed the same. So you're not getting a very big or amazing upgrade in a newer model. So they're all HD, but Apple's saying, well, with the M1 chip we can do more post-processing and refining with the picture, and even though it's still HD, it'll look better. So it seems to be a bit better, but not by a lot. So if webcam's important to you, it's not really a deciding factor. They're all the same on the three models. So trackpad's also awesome across the board, shouldn't be a deciding factor. Now, every MacBook Air from 2017 to 2019 comes with backlit keyboard. I love it. Backlit, trust me, when you're in a dark room, it's a saving grace. And now we're getting to probably the biggest deciding factor, in my opinion, when it comes to what MacBook Air to buy, 2017, 2019 or ARM 2020. And that is this. If you like this here. Do you remember this? Like Apple fanships, do you remember what this is called? It's called ports. Yes, the MacBook Air Mid 2017, and as sad as that is the last MacBook Air in Apple's, not actually anymore in Apple's lineup, because Apple doesn't have it anymore officially in its lineup, with an SD card reader. So with the MacBook Air 2017, you get an built-in SD card reader. You get USB-A. Yes! The last MacBook Air, like if we're comparing 2019, 2020 to 2017, there is no MacBook, not 2019, not 2020, with SD card reader. Only the 2017 model has this. Only the 2017 model has a USB-A. So if you're having any USB or device, like literally any device with a USB-A, well, you can't plug it in, you need an adapter with the newer models. You also have a mini display port here on the 2019, on the 2020. No, you don't have that. So you could put in an adapter here, you could have an HDMI output, a VGA output, or even like a DVI output. I have such an adapter. You don't even need like Apple's adapters. You can buy third party and they work the same, cost half. Don't be stupid, don't buy adapters from Apple. You have another USB-A, yes, 2 ports, 2 USB-As on the MacBook Air 2017. So if you want to have 2 USBs, you could use them. And that's very important to me, MagSafe. No, not the iPhone MagSafe, the real MagSafe. MagSafe on the Mac. And what is it? What is MagSafe, you might say? Maybe you're just getting into Apple. You're thinking, what is MagSafe? Well, MagSafe is a magnetic charger that you put in. It goes here magnetically, and if you yank the cable, and we all did this accidentally, the cable will just deattach without ripping the MacBook across the table. So this can save your MacBook Air from just falling off if you trip on the cable. It's an amazing connector. It charges the MacBook Air quickly. It's awesome and it works perfectly. The MacBook Air 2019. The 2019 model has 2 ports. Yes, you heard that right, 2 ports. And both of them are USB-C. So you charge via USB-C and you have another spare USB-C port. So yes, that means if you're charging via USB-C, you only have 1 more port, and that 1 port is also USB-C. So if you have any, and you will probably, I don't think there are a lot of people out there that have all USB-C devices. If you want to plug in a USB-A device, and that doesn't matter if it's a USB, a mouse, whatever, a keyboard, I don't know why you would plug in a keyboard, but if you want to put any USB-A device in there, if you want to put any SD card in there, whatever, you need a card reader, you need an adapter mania. That's what I'm saying. And that is the same, by the way, with the new model. The new model still has only 2 USB-C ports. So that's all when it comes to ports that you'll get with the new models. You have a headphone jack and 2 USB-C ports. And that's the same on the new model, the 2021. 1 headphone jack, 2 USB-C ports. And maybe you're thinking, but wait, no MagSafe? No, the newer models also don't have MagSafe. You have a USB-C cable, and trust me, if you put this charging cable in, yes, it'll charge faster, that's true. It's charging faster than than MagSafe. But this cable sticks to your MacBook. So if you trip on the cable and you have a newer MacBook than this one, your MacBook goes flying. Trust me. I still don't know why they removed MagSafe. I really don't. It's not a thick connector. It would have been easy to implement. Apple could have easily pulled it off, but I mean, maybe they wanted to put it on the iPhone and just discontinue it on the MacBook Air or on the MacBooks in general. I don't know. So if you buy anything newer than the 2017, you're not gonna get 2 USB-A ports, you're not gonna get a mini display port, and you're also not gonna get a built-in card reader. All of these great and amazing and handy ports that I just showed you, and yes, I've been using all of them. When I'm on trips with Manfred, I have my mini display port adapter to HDMI, VGA and DVI, and I'm plugging it into a TV in our hotel room and we can watch movies on Netflix, etc. The USB-A ports are kind of obvious. I'm using the 2 USB-A ports on the MacBook Air for my USBs, for everything that I want to plug in that has a USB-A port. And trust me, there are lots of devices, and I still don't have a lot of USB-C devices. Most of them are USB-A. And trust me, even the SD card reader is so handy to have. Because you can just, if you, for example, recording a video, you just take the SD card, put it in, no adapter needed, just put it in. But having said that, not everyone is buying the highest end laptop. Not everyone is buying the most expensive laptop. Because yes, the new MacBook Air 2020 ARM has by far the best performance. Like honestly, by far. It's crazy what they put into this MacBook Air. But it's also the most expensive, of course, clocking it at 1,129 euros here in Austria. I think in the USA it's $999. So yes, it's the most expensive out of the two. Is it good? Obviously. Does it have the best performance? Yes. But the thing is, and I always say this, what I think when buying a new MacBook Air, the question that you should be asking yourself is not, can I buy it, but should I buy it? That's the real question. You shouldn't just look at, and that's what companies like Apple, Microsoft, every company wants you to think like that. They want you to look at their fancy websites and they want to say, oh, this one has the best performance, this one has the best GPU, 8-core GPU, fastest, 5 times graphics faster than the 2019 high-end MacBook Air. They want you to look at all the performance and all like the graphs that they have, and they want to make you think, oh yes, this is the best performing, the most high-end model, I need this, because then I am the one with the perfectly performing MacBook Air, the high-end MacBook Air, like I'm the cool guy. Let's say you're a guy like me. You're a student, you need Word, you need the whole office suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you're browsing on the web, you're watching YouTube, Netflix, Twitch streams, whatever, you're listening to music, like you're watching a stream, you're listening to music on Spotify, Apple Music, you're maybe editing a Word project in the background, and you're also opening a YouTube video, you have a couple of apps open, maybe you do some casual video editing here and there. If you're that kind of guy, and even if you could buy the new MacBook Air, why buy anything better than this if this is more, like literally way more than enough for you? The MacBook Air 2017 with everything, and I would consider myself not like the run-of-the-mill guy. I would say I'm pushing it more than the run-of-the-mill guys do. It never failed me, it never lagged, it works perfectly. Again, video editing, full HD 60 FPS is easily doable here. And the battery life is awesome on this MacBook Air. It like lasts forever. If you're a student and you have a lot of seminars in one day, don't worry. If you're working for hours and hours on a spreadsheet, on a Word document, for example, you need to write a seminar paper or something, the MacBook Air won't die on you quickly. Like even after 2 years, over 2 years of extensive usage, I'm not using it lightly, of extensive usage, works just like before. Battery doesn't feel like it's aged in any way. So battery life, perfect. But I have to say this, the battery life on the M1 MacBook Air is insane. Like this is amazing. This is insane. Like literally like 18 hours of video playback. And also because this chip is delivering way more performance per watt, it just means you're saving so much battery. So even though this has amazing battery life, this has crazy battery life. My question here is, if the MacBook Air 2017 is all you need, and you would be completely happy with this, why buy this then? You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing I want you, with my videos, I'm trying to make you think different. I know the Apple trademark sentence, but trust me, that's not the way that they want you to think differently. They want you to think, I need the newest model, I need the newest iPhone, I need the newest MacBook. And yes, again, this MacBook Air, the M1 MacBook Air, is leaps and bounds better than this one. Absolutely, and I think it's an amazing laptop, don't get me wrong. If the MacBook Air 2017 is all you need, and you can buy this laptop right now used probably for $500, $400, and even you could buy this MacBook new, I saw it new for $600 on Amazon. $600 new, so that's around $400 less expensive than the new MacBook Air. And my question is, if that's all you need, why spend $400 more and buy something that you don't need, that has so much more capabilities that you're not gonna use at all? It's a shame, it's kind of a waste of money, you know what I mean? If the workflow that I just described to you earlier is the workflow you use, using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, browsing the web, watching YouTube, watching Twitch streams, If that's what you're gonna do, listen to music in the background, have a couple of applications open, like even like 8, you could do 8, 10 applications at the same time. If you want to have amazing battery life, if you want to have awesome multitasking, if you want to have a fast and snappy laptop at the same time, and that all at a very cheap price point, this is the laptop to get. This, and I'm still saying this, and I know I'm getting the flag of my life for saying this, because like the whole Apple community of Apple fan sheep's gonna rage at me. You can't say this is such a low power and such an old laptop. I don't care. This laptop has the best price to performance still, and for most people, and that's just the truth, this laptop will be more than enough. And even on top of that, for the next 3 years you will still get all the new OS updates from Apple. You don't have to worry about the next 3 years. You don't have to worry, or probably even more, like 4 to 5 years, but I would say 3 to 4 years. You don't have to worry about that. You get all the OS updates. You don't have to worry about it getting unsupported. So yes, I still think that the MacBook Air Mid 2017 is the perfect student laptop in 2020, even with the new ARM MacBook released. Now, that being said, this here is probably the MacBook most people should pick up. But you might say, well, for who is then this MacBook? Who should buy this MacBook? Well, I would say, honestly, the 2019 model, the Intel one that you still can get, honest opinion, you shouldn't buy it. Like, that's the model I would say stay away from. Because if you're saying, okay, this is a great laptop, but I want to get a better display, a way better display. I need it for, I don't know, video editing, photo editing. I need a more color accurate display. I want to push my laptop. I want to do very intensive editing, 4K editing. I want to do intensive photo editing. I don't know, After Effects. So you want to get a newer laptop, newer and more powerful than this one. Then I would say get the 2020 model, the ARM 2020 model. If you're worrying about support because it's a new platform, ARM, and not every app is yet supported, don't worry, Apple's got you covered. Everything still works. All the Intel-based apps also work. Apple has created a program that's called Rosetta. It still all works perfectly. Don't worry about that. And honestly, if you want to get a newer laptop than this, more capable one, this here is the best one you can get. The M1 clearly has an insane battery. It has insane graphics. It has like 18, think about this, 18 hours of video playback. You could literally almost watch videos the whole day through it. It's crazy. Like, performance wise and everything, for graphic intensity and everything, the M1 MacBook is the best one to get right now. The M1 is the highest performing and best high-end MacBook Air you can get right now. And I think especially for students, like the MacBook Air 2017 is perfect, because as a student you don't have a lot of money. And why spend more on this like incredible MacBook? It's an incredible laptop, but why spend more if all you need is this? If this already does all and leaps and bounds more than you need? That's kind of what I'm saying. The question you should be asking yourself, not can I buy it, should I buy it? Which one fits your needs? Which ones do you really honestly need? If it's the MacBook Air 2017, be honest with you. Trust me, still very good display, awesome performance, awesome battery. If that's what everything and even more than you need, don't spend more. Use the money that you save on anything else. Maybe buy a good microphone and a better webcam maybe to plug in. This has USB-A, so you could do this. And after comparing all of them, I would still say, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that, but I think it's just the truth, the MacBook Air 2017 is still the perfect student laptop in 2020. That's my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. What is your opinion on all of the MacBook Airs, the current ARM MacBook Air? Which one are you gonna pick up? Do you want to get the 2017 model, or do you actually want to get the 2020 model? Write it in the comments below. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to just say them. I'll of course try to reply to as many people as I can. That was this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye.